Okay, let's jump right in. Picture this. You're walking into a $17 million New York townhouse. You're there for an incredibly exclusive, high-stakes private poker game. Just imagine walking into this dimly lit, ridiculously luxurious room. It's filled with celebrities, professional athletes, and, maybe a few intimidating tough guys hanging around in the back. You're probably thinking you're there to rub elbows with the elite, experience the thrill of the underground scene, and, most importantly, make some serious bank.
But right off the bat, we have to ask the million-dollar question. Who is the sucker at the table? The brutal reality of this explainer is that while you might think you're the shark swimming with the high rollers, you are actually the fish. You've just walked blindly into a completely rigged, highly orchestrated trap. You're stepping into a manufactured illusion where literally every single player at that table might be part of a team designed for one purpose, to completely drain your bank account.
Now, before we uncover exactly how they pull off this heist, let's just do a super quick brush up on Texas Hold'em. The basic goal is straightforward, right? Make the best 5-card hand using your 2 hidden hole cards and the 5 community cards on the table. The higher your hand, the bigger the pot you take home. But here's the thing. In high-stakes poker, the only thing more valuable than actually having the winning hand is secretly knowing whether or not you do.
Section 1. Level 1. Invisible ink.
So let's start with the absolute oldest trick in the book, luminous marked cards. To the naked eye, the back of a standard playing card looks completely 100% normal. But scammers will actually paint this incredibly faint green ink onto the red pattern on the back of the card. Because of how human eyes resolve color, that faint green gets totally lost on the red background. You can't see a thing. But if a cheater across the table is wearing special red-tinted contact lenses or glasses, those lenses act as a physical light filter. The white parts of the card turn red, and that invisible green ink, it turns into a dark, muddy gray. Almost like magic, an optical illusion happens, and every single player's hidden hand becomes an open, perfectly readable book.
Insiders actually call this specific technique luminous work. It's the practice of using hidden markings and special glasses to cheat. And honestly, gambling experts will tell you this principle goes all the way back to the Old West. By 1929, it had gone completely mainstream, with mail-order catalogs openly selling these cheating kits. Nowadays, you'll see sketchy online sellers claiming this is some advanced, ultraviolet technology. But actually, scratch that, it's not high-tech UV at all. The human eye naturally filters out UV light anyway. So it's just a very old, incredibly simple optical trick that is still insanely effective at parting you from your cash.
Section 2. Level 2. The light table and the quarterback. Okay, so what if you're looking around and nobody is wearing weird red glasses? Well, welcome to the so-called X-ray table. Now, there are absolutely no actual X-rays involved here, but it works in 3 totally devious steps. First, cheaters install hundreds of hidden LEDs underneath the felt of a specialized glass poker table, and these shine upwards in the UV spectrum. Second, when you put your cards face down on the table, that intense, invisible light passes right through normal paper or plastic playing cards. And finally, a hidden overhead camera, which is specifically modified to pick up that UV light, reads your newly illuminated cards and beams a live video feed to some operator sitting off-site.
But here's the catch. Because that off-site operator is the one who knows exactly what cards everyone is holding, they have to find a way to get that information back to the table without raising suspicion. Enter the quarterback. This is an insider sitting right next to you at the table, posing as a regular player. Their whole job is to secretly receive instructions and control the game. Historically, they'd use something called a thumper, literally a tiny device strapped to their leg that pulses in a private Morse code. 2 long thumps and 4 short ones might mean a player has a 4 of hearts. Or maybe a simple buzz just means you, the fish, have a massive hand, so the cheaters should all immediately fold and protect their money.
The wildest part, though, is how audaciously simple this communication is today. Since players are usually allowed to text on their smartphones between hands, the signals are hidden right in plain sight. Take a look at this real-life cheat sheet allegedly texted by a guy named John Southmaza to his Miami cheating team in 2024. If a cheater named Mikey has the best hand, the quarterback just casually touches a $1,000 chip. If Alvarez has it, he taps his chin. If the quarterback himself holds the winning cards, he simply taps his wrist. They are literally signaling your financial doom right in front of your face, using nothing but casual body language.
Section 3. Level 3. Hacking the shuffler.
Now, let's say the table is solid wood. The cards are clean, no cameras. You might think you're safe, right? No way. This is the ultimate trump card of the night. At a massive cybersecurity conference in 2023, a researcher named Joseph Tartararo demonstrated exactly how to compromise a standard casino-grade automatic card shuffler. First, cheaters get access to the USB port on the back. Then they cleverly alter the firmware verification hash so the machine doesn't even realize it's been hacked. Next, they connect a tiny hidden device like a Raspberry Pi via Bluetooth. And the result? Every single time a deck gets perfectly shuffled, the machine silently beams the exact order of all 52 cards directly to a cheater's custom smartphone app.
Now, you might be thinking to yourself, wait a second, the human dealer always cuts the deck before handing out cards, right? That completely randomizes it again. Well, unfortunately, no. Bypassing the cut is mathematically trivial for this kind of software. Knowing just one single card's position, like, say, noticing the player in seat 3 got the 2 of clubs, is the only variable the app needs. Once it has that one anchor point, it instantly recalculates the entire deck's new order. The cheater knows exactly who is going to win before a single chip is even pushed into the middle. You have absolutely zero chance.
Section 4. The house always wins. Mob ties and the FBI bust.
So what happens when you finally figure out you're being taken for a ride, you run out of money, and you refuse to pay up? Well, starting around 2019, these rigged games started popping up all across the US. And at first, they were just standard underground poker nights, but the stakes got way too high. By 2023, according to the DOJ, associates of the notorious Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese crime families actually merged their operations. They took a massive cut of the cheating proceeds, and in exchange, they provided muscle, protection, and debt collection. This massive syndicate operated completely in the shadows until October 2025, when the FBI dropped the hammer with Operation Royal Flush, making sweeping arrests across what they called a mind-boggling fraud operation.
And we have to emphasize just how real and physical the danger here is. When you lose at these rigged games, you aren't just dealing with a few card nerds, you're dealing with the actual mob. The DOJ documented physical assaults right outside these games. They even released an actual voice note allegedly left by an organizer named Flappy Awa regarding a game in New York. After a player refused to pay his engineered debts, Awa allegedly sent a picture of himself holding a gun and left a message saying, "I'm going to shoot you in your kneecaps." This isn't a movie script. This is the terrifying reality of how the mob collects underground debts.
So, let's talk numbers. Just how much money did this syndicate siphon out of the pockets of unsuspecting players? Well, the official Department of Justice estimate states that at least $7.15 million was stolen from victims in these rigged games.
But honestly, that official figure is probably just a drop in the bucket. Professional poker player Doug Polk weighed in on the true scale of this, and his quote is just staggering. He said, "I would not be surprised for this to easily be in the 9-figure range." He pointed out that in these ultra-exclusive circles, players are frequently settling massive debts in unrecorded physical cash or totally untraceable cryptocurrency. We're very likely talking about tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars quietly changing hands in the dark, completely off the radar of regulators or the FBI.
Which leaves us with one final thought. If you ever find yourself walking into a super exclusive, high-stakes underground poker room surrounded by celebrities, athletes, and a table piled high with chips, take a look around. Because if you look around that table and you don't know who the sucker in the room is, who do you think it is? The terrifying takeaway from all of this is that in these dark, perfectly engineered worlds, the mark is always you.